The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah, you guys. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Thursday, September 26th. And today is National Compliance Officer Day, Jenny Beth.
Hey, that's me.
It's also National Situational Awareness Day, Dale.
I'm never aware of my situation, so I need to learn about this.
We need to rewind that a little bit down. It's also National Dumpling Day. Yeah, it's also
I love dumplings.
Yep, National Pancake Day, so maybe IHOP's having a sale. As well as National Johnny Appleseed Day, and you guys, it's also National Shamu the Whale Day.
Is that whale still alive?
Mm-hmm. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above or down below on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to anyone joining us from any one of those platforms. But kicking it off today, we are missing the dope dad because he is not feeling as well as he should today. But nonetheless, we have Jenny Beth stepping up in his place, trying to dope mom it instead of dope dadding it today. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis, as well as Justice Served, a 501c3, and all about criminal justice reform. That's right, it is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Good morning. We definitely miss Rico and hope he feels better. But anyways, we have some really exciting news. So I am excited to share this story for you guys because big news for the cannabis industry. LeafLink, the leading wholesale platform for cannabis, has just announced a groundbreaking payment option called Payment on Sell-Through, or POST. This innovative solution guarantees payments to brands as retailers pay for what they sell, significantly reducing the issue of delinquent payments. With POST, brands will receive automated weekly payments based on the previous week's sales, helping to alleviate financial strain and improve cash flow for both parties. Alongside established options like Direct Pay and Flex Pay, POST is designed to create a secure, transparent, and predictable transaction ecosystem in the cannabis market. LeafLink CEO Artie Minson emphasized the importance of this new tool, stating that it addresses a critical need within the industry by ensuring timely payments and reducing upfront costs for retailers. POST aims to transform how business is done in this challenging market. Currently available in Michigan, Mississippi, and Colorado, LeafLink plans to expand this offering to more states soon. For more information on how POST can benefit your business, reach out to LeafLink today. So this is exciting, you guys. I don't know how many of you have dealt with retail, but on the brand side, it's a pain in the ass. On the retail side, it's a pain in the ass. Part of this is shame on the retailers. These brands are struggling because they're not getting paid. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. If you have taken my product in and you're putting a keystone markup on it, by the time you have sold half of that through, I should be paid in full because you have now made all of my money. So I'm really excited to see this transparency for brands, to see retailers kind of getting some direct accountability because remember, LeafLink is now linked up with Dama Financial. We have to bank through Dama in a lot of instances. So it sounds like we're just going to pull that money right from your account and pay your bills for you. So LeafLink, kudos to you guys. This is a great idea. And I'm going to throw it back to the team and see what y'all think.
So can you explain how this works? Like, are they going to just like take money out of their account? Is that really how this is going to work?
Hell yeah, they are. They're going to say, hey, Jason sold 75 Maven 8s. All right, Shane, you're going to get a payment for 75 Maven 8s because that's what Jason sold through.
Really?
Yeah. What also is cool for you because it means that when they come in, they're not like, hey, COD on this order, because now there's some accountability and they know that as you sell it, they're going to get the money for it.
Man, you know who I think is end up going to get the short end of the stick on this?
Who?
The tax agencies.
No, the tax accountability is still calculated on a monthly and quarterly basis.
Well, what I'm saying is this: is I feel as though a lot of the times, a lot of the money that's supposed to go to brands ends up going to pay for staff, pay for other overhead related expenses. And I feel that taxes may be the ones to get the short end of the stick. I'm pretty sure the CDFTA is going to probably sign up for this same program now.
The CDTFA is going to get theirs whether they have to till tap you for it or not. So don't you worry about those guys. They are good at collecting.
But if they come in and till tap you and Dom is taking money out of your bank account, then money's not going to go in the bank account, and the whole program's not going to work.
It's going to sound like some of these owners are going to be driving Acuras and not Audis in a couple months. But hey, sucks to be you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to think that all of these are going to turn out the way they're promised, but it hasn't been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
What we really need is real banking with lines of credit, so that when you show up and it is a COD, there's a line of credit that actually pays the people that drop it off. And you're not having to play these games. Oh, I sold 15 units. I'm going to pay you for 15 units at your price. Like, fuck that. I got bills to pay too. I need my money now. And that's how real business works. And even though this might be a step forward, we're still circling the drain when it comes to making payments. And the tax people will get paid. And if you don't, there's a special place where they use sporks, where they happy to have you.
They do use sporks over there. They got lots of extra sporks.
I'm only using a spork at KFC for this rest of my life.
Is that right?
That's the only place. Me and the Colonel.
Mm-hmm. Colonel. Any thoughts on this, Rachelle? What do you think about this? You think these brands are going to get paid more?
I don't know. I guess I'm a little concerned about the technology itself, right? Or if something gets miscalculated, or something else happens where maybe they needed that money in their account for some other thing for a second, and then the money gets taken out.
That's what I'm saying. I think is going to happen. Exactly that.
Yeah, that's my only concern is if it works, cool. These brands should be getting paid when something sells through. There's no question about that. But I just hope that it doesn't do more harm than good. That's all.
I think
that's fair.
A big clusterfuck.
You know what? Maybe it'll teach some people how to manage their finances.
I think a lot of people are poorly manage their finances in this space. That part is totally true, but I'm not sure that it's going to teach them how to.
This whole industry is quite, as I like to call it, hood rich. We got a lot of nice shit, not a lot of money in the bank. So hopefully we can kind of change that around. And I don't think it's fair. I feel for brands when I know that friends of mine are having to take out loans so that they can pay their sales team and make their payroll. That sucks when they're having to take out loans to do another packaging run because they've got $2.5 million in receivables uncollected.
Oh, I know.
That we know is sold because it's good product. These are good brands. These aren't shitty, I won't name any names, that just sit on the shelf. These are good brands that we sell through pretty quickly. So I think everybody needs to be a little more aware that your bad practices might screw someone else's business.
Fair enough. Dale, I mean, you think your law firm is going to lose any money from this? You got all of a sudden some clients ain't going to have money to pay their legal bills because their money just got automatically withdrawn by DAMA to pay the vendors.
Well, that's not how we play the game, Jason. You got to put my retainer before I even agree to represent you. Mm-hmm. If you don't pay me, I fire your ass. That's how it works.
Have you?
I wish that the industry could do more of that. They're not in a position to do that. Mm-hmm. The people with the least amount of oomph in this are down at the bottom. They're the cultivators. They're the ones getting screwed. Mm-hmm. They're the last to get paid. The next are the brand people. Okay, they're the ones putting this out into the stream of commerce, getting it tested. It lands at a retail store. and then I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
In the legal business, we get paid because of our time and our experience. And I've been burned enough that I don't even talk to you much on the phone until you put money in my account. That's the way it has to work, because I've been screwed too many times.
I heard the hell out of that, Dale.
You know who else gets screwed? Your compliance consultants, and it's our fucking day. So maybe reach in your pocket and pay those past due invoices. Mama needs her money.
At least today, because today is National Compliance Day. Mm-hmm. Shout out to all the compliance workers out there. Well, we're going to roll into a commercial. We're going to be right back. All right, you guys. Well, we have just crossed the 4,000 subscriber threshold, and we want to thank all of you that have subscribed, but we need to do more. We need to get to 10,000 subscribers, and as a thank you to all of our subscribers, I am going to hook up a half a pound of cannabis. That's right, you guys. We are going to hook up a half a pound of cannabis to our subscribers. That's right. 8 of you will have the opportunity to receive 1 ounce of true classic OG if you are chosen. And if you're wondering how you can get your hands on one of these 8 ounces, all you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's right, High at 9 News on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell when you do. And you could be enjoying an ounce of cannabis right here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or maybe even right here in the studio with me. Make sure you hit that like button and share this post, because it may increase or not increase your chances of winning. You must be 21 years old or over, or be a valid California patient, 18 years and over, with a valid recommendation to win. Winners must redeem their prize here in the state of California at any one of the 28 Catalyst retail locations throughout California. Cloud Media is not responsible for any consequences that may occur as a result of consuming cannabis. Please smoke and consume responsibly. And remember, I'm Jason Beck, and I only smoke the best weed in the world. And if you want to smoke as good as I smoke, then you need to make sure that you're a winner in this competition.
The old man, leave him alone.
Oh, man, and we are back, you guys. Well, you know, I have a fun little interesting story for you guys today. I have a couple of them.
Up next, we have the High at 9 head honcho, the highest Republican in every room he enters, Mr. Jason Beck.
That was very, very nice. Very nice, Jenny. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Well, you guys, that's right. A cannabis union drive stalls as company attempts to set a national legal precedent, you guys. That's right. It's been more than 7 months since employees of St. Louis-based Leaf Medical Cannabis Company held an election to unionize. The majority of the ballots, 11 of the 16, have remained closed, you guys. In a quote, they say, "It's been quite a while," said Will Bradham, a post-harvest technician at the company. Since the facility in St. Louis, he says, "We're just like, what is happening? Why is this happening? And we're just kind of in the dark waiting," he says. The reasons behind the delay is likely that Bradham and his fellow post-harvest team members exist in a gray area in national labor law, which could change if their union drive is successful. Not long after Bradham and other employees filed their union petition last September, the company argued before the National Labor Relations Board that the employees aren't manufacturer workers. They are agricultural workers, they state. And agricultural workers do not have the right to unionize under the country's labor laws. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But Bradham and his fellow employees, along with the regional director of the NLRB, believe they're more like workers at tobacco processing plants who courts repeatedly have found aren't agricultural workers, you guys. This is going to get interesting. In a quote, "I've never touched a living plant at work," Bradham said, who was organizing with the United Food and Commercial Workers Union International Local 655, you guys. The company has taken this flight all the way up to the National 5-member board, asking them to set a national precedent on whether employees who process the dried marijuana plants have the right to unionize, you guys. Well, and that is likely why it's taken so long for the regional director of the NLRB, who twice sided with employees to open the ballots, said that St. Louis labor attorney George Scruggs, you guys. If this is a unique situation, there's no reason for the regional director to get out front by opening those ballots, they say. Or Scruggs says. And ultimately, the board will resolve it, Scruggs also says. So we shall see, and we're going to stay tuned and eat this popcorn. But that doesn't mean that the fight would be over, Scruggs said. If the national board sides with the employees, then the company will likely refuse to bargain in order to land the decision in a federal court. In a quote, "Employers have this ability to string out the results of a campaign, especially among businesses where there's lots of employee turnover," Sugg said. By the time there's a resolution a couple years down the road, he said, union support has eroded. And in quotes, he says, "That's the tactic," Scruggs says. "That's what employers have been doing over the 40-plus years that I've been practicing labor law. Over the 7 months of waiting, employees have noticed changes in their job descriptions that likely improve the company's position in the case." In a quote, "It just seems like they're trying to push our jobs more and more in the direction of quote-unquote farmers," said Ahmed Jiggy. Haynes, a post-harvest technician at Leaf Medical since the facility, he said the company has hired temp workers to do the manufacturing work, including packaging, that he and other of the union members were doing before. The company began hiring temps right after the employees filed a petition to form a union in September of 2023, and according to recordings of a recent staff meeting held by a company human resources representative and obtained by The Independent, at that meeting, the HR representative said Belief has burned through 150 temporary employees since October. He told the temps they shouldn't expect to be hired on full-time anytime soon, but they should still feel part of the team. Twice so far this year, NLRB Regional Director Andrea Wykes, who also oversees swath of 6 states in the Midwest, has ruled that post-harvest employees work similar to that of employees in tobacco processing plants. And removing the veins from tobacco leaves and fermenting the leaves has been held to be outside of the definition of agriculture under federal labor law, Wykes wrote back in a June 25th ruling. The company's response to her decision indicates that union employees likely have a long fight ahead of them. And according to a February 13th letter from Leaf's attorney to Wilkes, the company plans on fighting their employees' unionizing efforts all the way to federal court. In a quote, "Although we understand and respect the board's recent decision on this issue, we are preserving this issue for presentation to the United States Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit," the letter states. The company can get into court by refusing to bargain with the union, creating a technical violation, Sugg said. And that will lead to a filing of a petition for a review in federal court, Sugg said, so they can challenge the underlying issue in the case, whether these are agricultural workers, in front of a bunch of federal judges, they say. In another quote, "That's become a bigger problem, particularly in the 8th Court," Scuggs says, because you've got a number of very conservative judges who are kind of hostile to the labor movement in general. Sean Shannon, lead organizer with the UFCW Local 655, said it's obvious this has been the company's plan all along. excuse me, in a quote, they said, they clearly stated their intention to bring this as far as to the Eighth Circuit Court, which is several steps into the fight. In their original statement, Shannon said the company's February notice, it says, we roll that down a little, says, I feel, thank you, from the company's February 1st letter says, I feel nothing but clear intent to obstruct this union at all costs, which ironically proves just how much these folks need a union. Man, oh man, you guys, there is shit going down out here in the great state of Missouri. They're trying to union bust these guys. And I'm not sure. Should these people actually be union workers? I'm not sure. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, I'm a pain in the ass, so I Googled it. Google Esquire over here. Mm-hmm. The IRS defines agricultural workers as agricultural labor. Someone that provides agricultural labor includes all services performed on a farm in the employ of any person in connection with cultivating the soil or in connection with raising or harvesting any agriculture or horticultural commodity. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like that harvest team is going to lump in.
I don't know. They're making the argument. They're saying they're tobacco workers and agricultural workers, though. And they say that they're similar.
I mean,
I can't wait for Dale. Dale's gonna just piss up a rope right now.
Yeah, there's clearly a strategy on the part of the employers, and they've funded it to poke every hole they can in this. And in California, at least, we have the initial processing done at the farm. It's part of what you're allowed to do. You can dry, you can trim. And in the tobacco industry, it's taken from the farms now to a processing center. Okay, so there may be a distinction there. But I can tell you within the cannabis movement that I've worked in, I get kind of torn because my grandpa was a Teamster and I like organized labor. It helps to get the workers things that they wouldn't ordinarily get. But my other grandfather owned a small business. And when labor turns out to be the tail wagging your dog, it's real difficult to run a company. So they do split hairs here, and I'm not going to make a bet on how this is going to come down because I don't know all the intricacies of Missouri law. But if this is going on any place close to where they're harvesting out of the fields, I think they got an uphill battle here. Mm-hmm. It's taken to a processing center. Now I think there's a clear distinction between you're on the farm trimming and drying, or you're in a processing center where the farm's a long ways away, and these people show up and they're not in the fields harvesting anything. They're handling a job like you would have you went in and put widgets in a package.
Mm-hmm. 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 What do you think about this, Rachelle?
I mean, it seems kind of like something that's been going on a lot in cannabis around the country, right? Is like these people want to unionize. They want to be treated fairly like in any other industry. Aren't they voting on something in Oregon where basically they'll have to be given the option to unionize if they want to?
That may be, but these guys are out in the great state of Missouri. Correct.
Yeah, but I just wonder, like, if that were to, I mean, I guess that's like a vote, like a ballot initiative, but I'm just wondering if that will carry any weight. Folks in the rest of the country working in pot.
Yes, they are. UFCW Local 555 is trying to put a ballot initiative together in Oregon to help them unionize if they would like to. It failed last year, but they're pushing it again this year.
You think people are really going to vote for that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be nice if people could just get paid fucking fairly.
I have no problem with people getting paid fairly. I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think.
Well, we watch operators time and time again intentionally, and this is actually a tax crime as well, intentionally categorizing an employee as 1099 to avoid paying things like employment taxes on them and avoid giving them the rights that they should be getting. But if you make somebody wear a uniform, if you give them a company email, if you tell them when to be at their job, where to be at their job, how to do said job, that is an employee, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a 1099 independent contractor. I am independent. You don't tell me how to do shit or when to do it. I'll get to it and I'll let you know when it's done.
Thanks, Beyonce.
I do it quickly. oh, that was nice. But, I think that we need to do better as employers because it's ridiculous. And the wage theft that is happening over and over and over again, like when you're looking at employment and your EDD taxes, not paying those is different. That's like a trust violation. That's also a felony because you're supposed to be the person that transfers this money that belongs to the employee over to whatever the bureau is.
Nick,
so it's interesting.
Nick brings up an interesting point in the chat. He says, are you going to vote for something that makes your weed more expensive? I mean, it's true. It's true.
It is.
Everything's going to be more expensive.
Like, this sucks. Like, this is the greed of ownership levels. This is the greed that we're seeing that makes your weed more expensive. It's not the taxes. It's the greed of the people who are taking their cut out first.
The taxes are
Last time I checked, last time I checked, you got paid last when you own the company. You take care of all your employees. You're supposed to take care of all the responsibilities of the business. And then that's your profit.
Mm-hmm. Except for apparently, if you're in a cannabis company and, you got LeafLink and Mama, because they're just going to take your money first.
Well, we have a big split in our country over unions versus right to work states. Mm-hmm. And that's not going away tomorrow. And these federal appellate courts, depending on where they're located, are more sympathetic to unions or more sympathetic to right to work. And I don't know that this has an answer yet, because this is not like a well-entrenched industry, like Starbucks was, where they've been up, people been buying coffee forever. They don't have the problems we have. The unionization there had a lot more backing to it in the courts. This is still a tricky one, and nobody in this industry is really making the kind of money that they would just invite them in. Come on, we're going to give you a seat on the board so that labor's represented. That's not happening soon. They're going to fight this tooth and nail.
Totally agree, Dale. Totally agree with you on that. They are definitely going to fight this all the way. And it's an interesting tactic, their stall tactic, because they have such a high turnover, so they can say that vote is nullified because they don't have a majority of the same employees there. I think that's going to be an interesting way that this plays out as well. But time will tell, What do you have something to say, Jenny, before we move on?
No, I'm just, as you're listing off all the predatory things that people do to make sure that they don't have to actually follow labor codes when they have employees.
I didn't think that was predatory.
Makes my head hurt a little bit. Yeah, hell, that's predatory. Hey, I got this turnover, so I don't really got to treat you as an employee.
I mean,
you're all temporary workers.
But there's tons of companies that hire temp workers for all their stuff, just so then that way they don't have the high employee count that automatically makes them automatically unionized. I know, like here in California.
Which might mean it's a predatory practice to avoid actually treating employees as employees, right?
But is it a predatory practice if your business makes more money that way and that's the only way you can make money?
Yeah, the fuck it is.
I don't know about all that. I disagree. But nonetheless, we are going to roll right into the attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schafer. He's the founder of Armada Law, and at one point in time, did some time for a cannabis crime. Here to show you how he can defy gravity by pissing up a rope is none other than Mr. Dale Schafer.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning, everybody. My story this morning comes out of Florida. It's Marijuana Moment story from yesterday by Kyle Yeager. And the headline is DeSantis faces backlash over taxpayer-funded ads claiming marijuana legalization leads to increased car crashes ahead of the Florida vote. Now, as I was reading this got under my skin in a couple of ways. First of all, it seems that somebody got the Department of Transportation to put out public service announcements at very reduced rates that are just blatant propaganda. As those of us who have been following the legalization and watching with interest what happens on public safety, especially on the roadways, there really is no support for a statement that where you legalize, DUI crashes increase. In fact, even the federal government said, it's way too early to tell. And historically, people have smoked weed and driven for decades. It was just never looked for. So nobody really was trying to determine, unless it was alcohol, what was causing accidents. And when they started to collect statistics, They weren't differentiating between whether you were the cause of the accident or you were just involved in the accident and maybe you had cannabis in your system. The numbers were very, very skewed. So it's propaganda. And what irritates me about this is that it's not the government's job to put out propaganda in favor or against a state initiative. This should be a private actor's job. I mean, PACs can do this, individuals can get together, groups can fund this. But to have the state step in and put out what it just is nauseating propaganda, it's really irritating. And the other thing that popped into my mind is that it reminds me of what we were going through back in the 90s here in California as we were heading up towards Prop 215. Now, the law and order guys did not want Prop 215 to go forward. They did every damn thing they could to avoid having this initiative pass. And we had a guy named Dan Lundgren out here. He was not the governor, he was the attorney general, but he was a right-wing Republican, and he was a law and order guy, and he hated weed, and he was going to do whatever he could. And we had a 96 Republican convention in San Diego, and just before the election, he arrested Dennis Perone because Terrence Hallinan wouldn't do it. So we got the politics involved in this, and it reminds me of the nefarious way that the government was handling the opposition to Prop 215. Now we see DeSantis pulling out all its stops, trying to fight an initiative that seems popular and it seems poised to win. So it gets under my skin to see the government do this. Not the government's job. And if you're going to put out a public service announcement, for God's sakes, make sure you're telling people the truth. The truth is a very hard thing to do because most of the thing that comes out of people's mouth is nothing close to the truth. It's bullshit that comes out that we just say to fill up space. And when you're going to do something officially, make sure you research it, you can stand behind it. When it's just throwing out blatant propaganda, now how do you trust these public service announcements when they're just blatantly full of shit like this? I'm going to throw this back at you guys because it gets me worked up. The book I'm writing, I've done a lot of research about this, and I lived through it. So when I see this stuff, it kind of gets my juices up that we're seeing some of the same stuff. And I'm not saying the Democrats haven't done it, but historically what I've seen has been law and order Republicans who want to throw out this kind of nonsense. So I'm going to throw it back at you guys. What do you think about this?
Man, he must be getting his talking points from Project Sam, you think, Dale?
Well, I was thinking as I read this, because this is nonsense.
Yeah, it sounds like he's been definitely talking with Project Sam. That's what this sounds like to me. This has Project Sam's fingerprints all over it in my mind.
I wish Project Sam would keep their fingers out of cannabis. If you don't want the industry to exist, just say that and sit down somewhere in a corner and shut up.
I think they've said that that's pretty. I think they've stated that numerous times.
Yeah, well, now sit down and shut up. We've heard it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just
go to bed.
Oh, go ahead, Dale.
Cannabis legalization is not going to bring Western civilization to an end. Let's just stop that crap, okay? Mm-hmm. All the nonsense that we're seeing now goes way back when there were really racial reasons for making marijuana illegal. Okay, they were blatant, and now we're bringing it forward, and they're trying to put lipstick on the pig and say, no, this is not racial. It's bullshit. The entire opposition to the legalization of weed has been focused on either black people, brown people, or gay people. Okay, and now they're still, oh, my mama said it's bad, so therefore I can't let this go forward, rather than opening your mind and looking at reason and objective facts. We just see the propaganda machine come out. And it's not the job of the government to put out propaganda. That's one of the things that just irritates the shit out of me. If you're going to put out a public service announcement, make sure it's factual. It's hard to be factual in a day when everybody's so full of shit. But it's not that difficult for a short public service announcement to be honest about stuff. And they don't want to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
True.
You're very, very true about that. You have any thoughts on this, Rachelle?
Nah, like I said, they can just go to bed.
They can just go to bed, man. You
Take a nappy, Project Sam.
I still just don't. I don't think that there'll be any accountability or anything that comes out of this ultimately. I mean, there's been tons of public service messages over the years that haven't been true, or you know what I mean. Like we could, you know, just recently and even a long time ago, you remember the "This is your brain on drugs" ad. You know what I mean? Those were all public service messages. So I don't think there's going to be any type of accountability on that. And it's unfortunate that taxpayers are paying for this propaganda and whatnot, but I don't think it's going to change at all anytime soon.
Well, I think you're probably right, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be screaming about it. That if we're going to use the public bully pulpit, it should at least be factual based. In a world where everybody is shaving the truth and giving half truths, and some of them just blatantly lying, who's going to stand up and say, let's be factual here and criticize your own folks if they're being stupid? I mean, the Eric Adams thing is an example of a Democratic administration going after a dirty Democrat. Bob Menendez,
Man,
the same thing.
I can't wait to
We need to bring some
what it's all
integrity
about.
back to this.
I can't wait to see what this is all about, this whole Eric Adams case. I'm willing to bet they probably found his trap distro in his basement.
Oh boy.
Going back to Tammany Hall, New York has been dirtier than hell. And during Prohibition, cops were on the take. Everyone was on the take. None of this surprises me, but even the big cities in California have the same problems. Greasing people's palms to get shit done is not new.
You think him and Diddy?
No.
You think him and Diddy are going to be sellies?
Maybe him and Diddy and Bankman-Fried can have a barbecue there, make some Pruno or something up in their holes.
Maybe this. Whole
Diddy
thing,
can't make any Pruno because he's on suicide watch with the guy who's in there for crypto fraud right now.
Yeah. Friedman.
Who do you think's going to kill
Friedman.
himself first on suicide watch?
Oh man, we should put up a poll. We should put up a poll.
Well,
It's a pretty
they'll give
grim
it
poll.
time until they stop watching him so close. But trust me, if they don't want you to kill yourself, they know how to do that. I've been in the shoe before. I know how that works. And they'll watch you. And as soon as they stop watching you, then somebody sneaks in, and next thing you know, oh, there's something around his neck. How'd this happen?
He put baby oil on the floor and strung himself up with the sheet we didn't give him.
Maybe they're using Eric Adams for, they're trying to send Diddy a message.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
Diddy's going to get a lot of messages. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait till they get the videos coming out of the freak off or whatever they call it.
Man, and on that, we're going to go into our commercial and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Tripping a bus.
Oh, yeah. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show will be up on our website just following the show. The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. Ah, yes, and we're back. She is the Lego Queen of Minnesota. She is the editor of Green State Magazine as well as a future bride-to-be. That's right, it is none other than Miss Rachelle Gordon.
I think she's a current bride-to-be.
I said current. Oh, I said future. My bad.
Yeah.
I should have been current. My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't. My bad.
A future bride.
Yeah, future
and a bride to be.
Yeah, future bride. Yeah.
Oh,
there we go.
Yes, I'm actually getting married not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. So next week you won't see me. I'll be making bouquets next Thursday. So here's a little story that comes from our friends over at Minnesota Public Radio, which frankly has surprised me. It suggests that only a small fraction of Minnesotans are using cannabis despite legalization. So even though it's now been more than a year since Minnesota legalized the adult use of cannabis, only a small percentage disclosed that they've recently partaken. The latest NPR News, KARE 11, and Minnesota Star Tribune poll shows that only 14% of respondents reported consuming marijuana or THC-infused hemp products in the last month. But the poll also found a majority of those surveyed support legalization of cannabis on a national level. Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy conducted the poll of 800 likely voters between September 16th and 18th. The poll's margin of sampling error is plus or minus 3.5 percentage points. Minnesota made it legal for adults 21 and older to possess, use, and even grow their own marijuana for personal consumption as of August 2023. But so far, it isn't broadly available for sale to customers, as the sale sets rules for phases of the production, transport, and retail phases. The White Earth Nation dispensary, I'm not even going to even try to say that, was the second dispensary to open in the state last year because tribal communities operate apart from the state's regulatory structure. CEO Zach Wilson said the poll's low cannabis use numbers could be because of accessibility and education. Quote, depending on where you're at in the state, as far as convenience and ability to get our product, ease of access may not be the best yet, either, with it only being on reservations. Wilson said he thinks once dispensaries open statewide, the number of people using cannabis will increase. He said there's been a steady flow of customers at the White Earth dispensary. We're definitely seeing a good influx month over month as far as new patients, new clients. We're seeing 4,000 to 5,000 people a month right now selling to. The poll results show that 61% of those polled support national legalization. It says that only 1 in 7 voters have consumed marijuana or other THC. Yeah, 14% said yes, 85% said no. The article continues, but frankly, I'm really surprised. I do think, though, that there could be some error due to the fact this is self-reported. Even though it's legal, maybe people aren't comfortable sharing on the record, even though it's obviously a random poll. Maybe they're not comfortable sharing that they're consuming cannabis. I know some people still like to keep it on the low. And I'm just shocked because the tap rooms and the bars and the liquor stores are selling massive quantities of hemp THC drinks. At least I thought they were. Maybe the novelty's worn off. Maybe the aggressive price point of the drinks, it's $20 to $25 for a 4-pack. Maybe the allure has worn off. People are just like, meh, whatever. I don't know, but something tells me that these numbers aren't correct. Just knowing how people love their THC and their hemp here in the land of 10,000 lakes. What do you guys think?
I think until we see some policy that comes out that keeps people from losing their jobs for it, we're going to see people who aren't comfortable admitting to their own personal use.
That's a really good point, Jenny Beth.
Yeah, very fair.
I mean,
very, very fair.
And I just think, old habits die hard. A lot of people just, I'm not admitting to that. Just want to just keep that whole same whatever. So I'm not mad at that. But I agree with you, Rachelle, that the numbers are definitely skewed in this. And I think you might be right about that. I think maybe the whole buzz is wearing off. Told you.
I don't know, but Jenny Beth's point, though, if some rando called me on the phone and was like, do you smoke weed? Even if they said they were a poll, I would automatically assume they were a snitch because I'm such a paranoid person.
Cops,
you're probably high, so you're more paranoid. You're like, shit, are you looking?
Who's calling me? How do they know my phone number?
I could see that. That would be funny. Yeah, no, I would tell him no on the phone too. Like, who you don't even know who you're
Get the
talking
fuck out of
about.
here. What are you talking about?
Just because you identified yourself as a poll worker, there's no way to like really prove that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, my initial response to this is that, yeah, the numbers are low, but back in the day when I was an undergrad studying criminal justice, the number was 8%. And if 8% of your population violates a prohibition, you can't enforce it. Now, this is basically double that amount, even in a low numbers poll. What it tells me is that the government has to understand that no matter what you try to do now, there's more people smoking weed than you can ever hope to try and enforce going backwards from this. And I think across the nation, every state, if you got people to actually admit to you how many were smoking weed, it's going to be well over the 8% threshold that you can't enforce these prohibitions. I hope someone is listening somewhere to people, whether they vote or whether they vote with buying and smoking weed, that marijuana prohibition has no future. It's got to stop.
Yeah, Ben Court, you jerk. Sorry.
But, I'm kind of thinking about it more. Like, is 14% low? Like, isn't the national average? I feel like we just wrote about this. I feel like the national average of people who consume once a month is still less than 20%. So it's not 8, but I know it's higher than that. I'll have to look it up real quick. But I feel like maybe it's on par with the average. I don't know. Maybe it just feels low because it seems like people love weed in Minnesota. I don't know.
Well, and you go to all the weed spots, so you see all these people buying it, and so you're not going to the places that they're not buying any weed to like.
Go to the Juicy Lucy spots and see how count the red eyes and pull them that way.
For sure. Oh, Matt's. We love Matt's. Shout out Matt's Bar.
So good.
Okay, so I was wrong. According to this survey, 40% of Americans use marijuana products at least once a week. 15% said they consume daily. Okay, so color me surprised.
Look at that. Look at the 40%. That's pretty high.
That's
number.
from a different, but then another Gallup survey said 17% of adults report they smoke marijuana. Oh boy, now I'm all confused. I don't know what to think.
Well, I mean,
we're not counting the cool moms that take a gummy at night and giggle with their girlfriends, and that I think a lot of people don't think about it because they're maybe asking the question in the wrong way. It's like, do you use products with cannabinoids in it? And they're like, a cannabis what? No, just hemp gummies. All right, Brad. Like, I don't know. I think there could be some confusion in the way that they're asking these questions, but also like, just why are we asking? Because it seems like a prohibitionist push. Absolutely. Like, okay, well, we legalized it. They're still not using it. Well, sales show otherwise. Tax revenues show otherwise. So it's going somewhere. I don't care if they're buying it and flushing it down the toilet. I'm guessing that's not what's happening though.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. We got to go to our next commercial. We're going to be right back.
All right.
I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're gonna smoke, because we're gonna get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla.
You just want me to smile.
We're back, you guys. Rachelle, the Hashanisa is asking Rachelle, what percentage of your wedding guests will be consuming?
I would say, good question. I would almost say like half, maybe a little less. I mean, a lot of people there, I think between the THC drinks, the weed bar, right? All the different options. I think but there's also going to be a lot of people drinking Busch Light. I will say that too.
So Busch Light, God.
Kurt's family is a Busch Light family.
Country road, take me home.
Yeah.
Kurt's, okay, I don't want to belabor this, but to tell you how Wisconsin, my fiance's family is, my future father-in-law bought 12 30 racks of Busch Light for the rehearsal dinner alone.
30 racks.
Damn, son.
Shout out to Busch Light for still serving up 30 racks.
Yeah.
Good people. How many cheese curds do you guys have?
Probably going to be some cheese curds, but probably far less cheese curds than Busch Light. But shout out to Ron for making sure that we're all going to have a good time.
Fair
Ron.
Fair enough. No
Where's
shortage.
the Jägermeister?
No shortage.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no, none of that.
That gives me heartburn. Don't say that word.
All right, Jenny, you ready? You ready for your second story today?
I am.
All right.
All right. That was lackluster intro. You got 2 shots today, and all right, fine. This is a shorter story, but I love when we go across the pond and talk about traptivity. So breaking news from West Lothian. 5 men have been arrested after police uncovered a massive cannabis cultivation operation in West Calder, valued at an astonishing 1.2 million pounds. Now, that is a monetary amount, not a weight amount. So we don't get confused like last time we started talking about pounds. The discovery was made at Polbeth Industrial Estate around 10:20 a.m. on Wednesday, September 25th. Those arrested, aged 36, 29, 26, 22, and 20, are facing charges related to drug offenses and are set to appear at Livingston Sheriff Court today, September 26th. Police Constable Michael Fairbanks emphasized the impact of drugs on communities, stating, "We will use all resources at our disposal to disrupt the drug trade in Scotland." He also highlighted the importance of public information in combating drug activity. If you are a snitch, which I don't encourage, you can go find the article yourself and grab that phone number because I'm not reading those. But Scotland Crime Stoppers wants to talk to you. I'd suggest you don't. Probably aren't watching this show if you're going to call them up. But this is interesting. Love to see it. The UK needs and wants cannabis in all avenues. So what do you guys think about the Scottish? It sounds like they had a pretty large operation going. If they're valuing it at 1.2 million pounds, maybe this is overvaluated, but it sounds like it was a pretty big operation. So what do you guys think?
I do always wonder how they get those calculations, right? Like, what are they basing the value of drugs on at this point? Like, how do they know what it's going for right now?
Right.
Go ahead.
Who's going ahead?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say those snitches probably told him, but
The snitches said the snitches gave the valuation.
The snitches are probably custies too, so you're probably catching the custy octopoint price.
Yeah, facts.
So this was an actual cultivation that they busted?
Yeah.
How many lights?
I don't know. It didn't say. Let me look.
Man.
Let's see what I can find.
All right. I'm just wondering how big it was. Then once we know how many lights it was, then we can try to figure out how they're coming up with this 1.2 million pounds.
I love Jason Beck. How big is it?
Yes, that's the real question. Like how much can they actually produce out of here is the real question.
I'm pulling the full story up, so I'll let you guys discuss and I'll let you know.
Oh, go ahead, Dale. There's more and more weed that keeps on going to the UK, Dale.
It just never ceases to amaze me how they're not getting the message. People want to smoke weed. You can play whack-a-mole all you want with this, but there's more than enough people that want to smoke weed to make it impossible to enforce these prohibitions. How do we get the policymakers to understand it's better to work with them and try and fight them? And it's a theme that we're seeing all around Europe and in the United States. At what point did they figure this out and stop fighting it and bring it into the fold? And then you can control it a lot better when you actually give out licenses and the trap market's gone.
Fair enough. Jenny, did you find this?
I'm going through it, but I don't see it yet in the article. I'm going to look for another article, but I do appreciate information provided by the public is vital in helping. So somebody snitched on him. And this constable's actual quote was, "Drugs cause misery in our communities." I don't know who's miserable after smoking a little weed.
Probably the people that didn't get to smoke are miserable.
All right, here's the only time I'm miserable smoking weed. I passed you my joint on accident because I tried to not, and someone walks away with it. That's a miserable situation.
Yeah, we don't like that.
That's direct fucking, that's assault. It's disrespect and it's assault.
Speaking of all that, we're going to try to end as close to on time today, you guys. I have one more quick little story for you. And man, it's a triggering piece, you guys. And I'm pretty sure you guys are all going to rush out to go and see this when this comes out. Because a new documentary will go inside the rise and fall of marijuana's first billion-dollar brand, you guys. That's right. MedMen. That's right. Oh, man, here we go. Can we hit play on this? That's right, you guys. Bungalow Media Entertainment, a leading independent production company, and writer-producer Zach Goldbaum are shopping a 3-part limited series on Adam Bierman and the iconic brand he built, MedMen. The first billion-dollar cannabis company in the U.S., the series will be based on Bierman's forthcoming tell-all book, Weed Empire, How I Battled Gangsters, Investment Bankers, and the Department of Justice to Build the Cannabis Industry in America. In a quote, "It's an amazing origin story about one man's fight against the establishment. Adam takes us on an amazing tell-all journey of the new Wild West of the hubris and greed while navigating a treacherous world, hoping to attract suburban moms, dads, and stoners alike," said Robert Friedman, CEO of Bungalow Media Entertainment. Once the most recognized brand in cannabis, the high-profile rise and equally sensational fall of MedMen is a historic tale about the birth of an industry and the behind-the-scenes realities of how marijuana transitioned from back alley to mainstream. The series is a story of ambition, activism, greed, and politics, and will reveal just how Bierman and his partners fought against the establishment to create a multi-billion-dollar industry, this press release reads. I'm excited to be able to share it to big weed to Main Street America, said Bierman, co-founder and former CEO of MedMen. Living at the intersection of criminality, politics, finance, and pop culture, I dealt with. Oh man, this guy is just more and more and more. It's same thing. This thing keeps going on and on and on. But man, are you guys gonna go and check this out if this gets put through? You know what I mean? The rise and fall of the unicorn that was MedMen.
Who's getting money from this? Because if it's Adam freaking Bierman, I swear to God, I'm not going.
That would actually be really funny, but also on brand.
Right.
I would expect Bierman to be getting money off of this for sure.
Are they going to sell us the tickets at one price and then devalue them the next day?
Oh.
Listen, I don't want to support this. And unless it's like really grimy and really truthful and we are exposing all these people, because there's still a lot of people that walk around that we know, Jason, all the time are like, no, we helped build MedMen. Yeah, on the backs of ripping people off, of ripping brands and operators off that actually did build this industry. So like, boo, you whore. And I'm watching it happen again, right? They just got evicted and sued for trying to rip another landlord off and stay in business. So I think that, they're just going state to state to state with this Ponzi scheme. Let me get close to the mic so you can hear what it actually is. And I don't really want to celebrate them. I don't think there was a real rise. I think it was a ripoff and a call out.
Maybe there'll be a
classic example of mismanagement, and then now trying to rewrite history and put lipstick on the pig.
Right. We did so good.
Thing in the ground. It was horrible to watch. Where they buying all these girlfriends' BMWs and bullshit like that, and then pretend like, oh, we're the warriors here. No, you were a bunch of frauds.
Wait, girlfriends are getting BMWs out there? Maybe I do want a boyfriend.
Gotta find an old fart though.
Weak ticker.
An old fart.
There you go.
An old fart.
Go to the cardiologist with them. Make sure that you know what the cardiologist says so you can blow their heart up.
Oh, no, that's so mean. I would never. I'm actually a nice girl. Jason, I wonder if they're going to cover the portion of when the original four were fighting to keep their ability to sell adult use, and MedMen was hedging their bet, lobbying against it, and setting up vending machines right on the edges of West Hollywood.
They did have a vending machine. I remember that. That was cute.
In places like, cute. Well, I go to take my damn dog to get his overpriced doggy spa day. And they're like, guess what? We're getting into cannabis too. And take me in the back and show me this fucking vending machine. And then tell me all the things about how MedMen has told them that the original 4 were going to fail at the city council level, and that as soon as they did, those machines turned on.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting. Don't support them, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people didn't support them, and that's why they're in the position that they're in now.
And that's why we sat through them damn long meetings, huh?
But thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank yous to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing and weed for the people. Thank you, Cannabis, for giving us a reason to do all of this. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Adam in the building today. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.